They act like a business consultant, not a sales representative. Yes, we're sales representatives, and yes, we're proud of it. But we don't come across as the stereotypical image of a salesperson. You see, the average American does not like the field of selling and is afraid of salespeople. So we want to develop a way of coming across that doesn't come across like this image, as I'll be teaching you. You see, one of the number one reason merchants' accounts are canceled is because the merchant has low sales. Number 3 is very important. They deliver every presentation with enthusiasm. You see, enthusiasm is so important in everything we do in the people business. It doesn't matter how you feel today. It doesn't matter if you've said the same words 1,000 times. If you're going to turn pro, you realize that every time you say anything you say, you must say it like it's the first time you've said it with the excitement, because people will say yes to your offering based more on your conviction, your enthusiasm, than they ever will on your technical skills. See, it might be your 100th delivery, but it's the merchant's first time hearing it. Don't you agree, gang? You bet. Number 4, they know how to create a sense of urgency for their merchants. In other words, when they do the presentation, that merchant starts saying, why have I waited so long? Why haven't I done this sooner? And number 5 is so important. They are great educators. They have great listening skills. You see, I totally believe that Card Service International is an educational process where you are teaching people the benefits, opening their minds to the profits you can generate, opening their minds to how you can help them build a business. And what an awesome responsibility that puts on all of us. Isn't that right? I would love you also to start focusing on not what you want. Start focusing on customers' needs. How can you help them today? How can you serve them? You see, the big sale is not always as important to the merchant as it is to you. More importantly, how can we help them increase their effectiveness in serving their clients and thus increase profits to their company? That's what it's all about. Number 6, I see in the top people. They have a higher goal than making a sale. They want to create an asset for the merchant's business. They really delight in walking out having the client say 2 words to them. Now see, I believe that there's a standing ovation that we get in our business. Now many of you have been to the theater, you've been to a wonderful play, and if the people on the stage poured their hearts out, they were professional. Oftentimes the audience stands up and applauds them. Every day we should work for what I call the standing ovation of a sales representative. And you know what that is? It's when they have said, take care of my business, do what you can for me, I'll get started today, and by the way, thank you. When the client, the merchant, thanks you after you've closed the transaction, you've got it. The sales representative standing ovation. And you should work for those. Number 7 is very important. They are very concerned about their dress, their grooming. They are caring about their hairstyle. They are wanting always to be clean, their clothing clean, their nails clean. And I know a lot of this sounds basic and fundamental, but you have to realize you are judged in the first 10 seconds when they see you. Never forget this. Don't let the messenger get in the way of the message. That's why your dress, your appearance, all of this must be proper for the time and the client you're visiting. Now let's talk about facial hair for a moment, and I'm talking to the men now. It's very important. If you wear facial hair, fine today in business, it's acceptable. But if it's a beard, it should be well groomed. If it's a mustache, it should be trimmed. Don't let it keep touching this bottom lip. They'll be focusing on that and not hearing the message. Isn't that right? All right. Number 8 might, to some of you, be something you may not realize, but the top people I've met, long-term successful people, are very ethical. They know the importance of honesty. They know that integrity is how a business lasts, not for a season, but for a lifetime. And that's so important that every one of you joining Card Service International realize that we will teach you nothing unethical. We will ask you to do nothing that in any way could be construed as something that would hurt another person. You'll never hear it in this training session. Number 9, I find this in all champion producers. Regardless of the company or the industry, they take personal responsibility for self-education. They want industry knowledge. They want company knowledge. They know the importance of self-improvement. They have books. They have tapes. You get in their car and they're always listening to uplifting, motivational material because they know that in the people business, you get drained of emotion in the job we do. So we must renew. We must fill up ourselves with enthusiasm, and we do that through self-education. Number 10 is a very important one. They understand that they're in relationship selling with the merchant. It's not a product or a service. And I will say this to you, if you really want to do well in this business, do 2 things. When you walk into the merchant, number 1, say to yourself before you go in, I am developing a long-term relationship here. Now, if that was true and you really believed it, you're going to come across with a sensitivity, a sincerity that they will feel. You won't be the typical salesperson that comes in just telling them what they should do. I'll tell you something else you might want to do. Whenever you're talking to a merchant, it's almost like in this room here. I have a spotlight on me to light up the presentation so you can see the facial and all we're doing here. Well, the spotlight's on me right now. But if I walked into a merchant, I would pretend that that spotlight was being turned on the merchant to where I would be wanting them to feel good, to answer questions, to feel important. Get the spotlight off yourself. Put it on the merchant and watch how you come across differently. Okay? Then, of course, number 11, they use their resources wisely, meaning they understand email, high technology, voicemail, a lot of the things that we'll be talking about in the program. And of course, I will end with the 12th, which I feel is one of the most important. They are loyal team players. You see, one of the uniquenesses I find with Card Service International is it's not like a big company. It's more like a big family. And if you stay around and you do the job and you get to know all the people at the top of this organization, you realize their sincerity about your success. They want you to do extremely well. Because as each team member wins, the team gets stronger. The team wins. And that's an attitude we want you to have. Become a team player and be positive and enthusiastic. When you walk into your agent's office, leave everything other than business outside the door. You shouldn't be discussing personal challenges, areas of concerns you have with other people. Develop a positive feeling whenever you come through the door and watch how everyone will gravitate to you. Okay? Now, those were the dozen. Those were the 12. They're in your workbook. Work on them. If one is lacking in your makeup, let's make a commitment. A champion makes commitment. It's going to become part of you. Now let's talk about a very important subject. I call this next session the greatest destroyer of sales. Now when I say it, if you're like me, you should be very interested to find out why sales get destroyed. Well, there's a reason. There is an emotion when you walk in to a merchant that as soon as they in any way pick up this is a selling situation, there is an emotion that starts to happen in their being. It's a 4-letter word that can destroy you, and that word is fear. People don't buy logically, gang. They buy emotionally, then defend the purchase logically. So this fear causes them to almost have to say no.